the Maple Leafs have, would you consider linked a strong word here when we're referring to the interest level of one Erik Karlsson with Toronto? Is linked a strong term, or is it more of is it kicking tires? Is there serious interest? Like, from what you're reading from a whole bunch of different insiders, like, how would you gauge the interest level with the Maple Leafs in Erik Karlsson?
I wouldn't put it overly high, and for a couple of reasons. Like, I think this is Brad Living doing his diligence to say, all right, this guy's out there. What would it? His name is certainly out there. We already know it. What would it cost, right? And not only what would it cost to acquire him, how much are the San Jose Sharks willing to eat in salary? Because that is something that, even general manager Mike Greer said that if they do trade, he understands that there's going to have to be a little bit of give and take, right? If the Sharks want to maximize return, they're going to have to find it to make it easy for whatever team's acquiring to make it work. Although they're not going to just sit here and say, we're going to take half the contract. He already said that's not going to happen either. So, I mean, I'm not going to say it's impossible to expect the Leafs to go after Karlsson. I just wonder, like, you look at the other teams that could potentially be involved, they'll pony up, I think, a lot more than what I think the Leafs would offer for an Erik Karlsson.
Well,
Guys is coming off a 100-point season. He's not going to go for pennies on the dollar like we've been seeing in these other trades.
Yeah, I don't think that it'll be, a Taylor Hall deal where it's literally a cap dump in a way for a former MVP. This guy's the reigning Norris winner. He's, multi-time Norris winner. Whatever you want to say about his defensive game, the guy had 101 points, 102, 3, 4 points, something like that. Certainly he crept over the 100 mark this year, and boy, would he be a welcomed addition to this Toronto Maple Leaf squad. The $11.5 million is obviously not feasible. We all know that, so surely there will be some retention involved. But, could they possibly get another team involved and get a double retention to get that number down even more? Like, is that possible? Perhaps. What would they have to pay to do it? That is, those are the questions that I guess you would have. And if you're Brad Treliving, you'd have to kind of decide, okay, is it worth it? Is Erik Karlsson going to transform our team enough where that would make sense for a big move of the offseason of the summer? His first move as the GM of the Maple Leafs is to acquire Erik Karlsson, who, again, massive bounce back season with 101 points. But, the 3-4 seasons prior to that, kind of injuries played a factor, and wasn't able to play a whole lot, was limited to 50 games a season before, 52, 56, 53. I mean, it'd been a while since he had put in an 82 game campaign like he did this year. You have to go all the way back to 2015-16. That was Connor McDavid's rookie year. So ever since Matthews came into the NHL and stripped the puck off of him in that first game that season, he's never played a full 82 game season until this year. So there's a lot to kind of think on when it comes to Erik Karlsson. And was that his resurgence? Was that the return of Erik Karlsson? Or was that just kind of, 1 year, got back on track, and then now at the age of, what is he now, 33? I believe he is. Yeah, 33 years old. How do you really want to bring, that into the fold? How much are you going to pay for it? And are you willing to give up those type of assets? We'll see. He does have a no movement clause, though. So, there may be other teams that want to pony up more assets to trade for him. Like Carolina was a team that apparently is rumored to be kicking tires. Seattle as well. But if you're Erik Karlsson, you have to decide Seattle, Carolina, or the Toronto Maple Leafs. Maybe he'd rather come to Toronto, come back to Ottawa, and gives them a better opportunity to win a cup with Austin Matthews and company, and also gives them a chance to beat down on Ottawa 6 times a year, his old team. So I don't know. I'd be curious to see how that goes. But if the Leafs are serious about bringing in Erik Karlsson at a retained rate, that'd be quite the move for the Maple Leafs to bolster the blue line.
And we see, when you have that dynamic blue liner, it can make a difference in the playoffs, especially.
100%, 100%. And he previously was when they made that run with Ottawa in 2017, not quite the same player, although he got back to that this year. Um, you he's shown how dynamic he can be by himself. You put him with Mitch Marner and Nylander and Matthews and this whole team, man. Imagine what he could do with a whole bunch of more guys who could finish. I'd be curious to see how that kind of works out.